Carl and Damon here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And it's They Made What into a TV series. Devil May Cry! We're in the latter part of the show now. Episode 6, The First Circle, directed by Hong Ji-young. I think I messaged you, or I certainly told my wife that when I watched this episode, I said it was the best episode, single episode of a animated show I think I'd ever watched. Better than anything I'd ever seen from Castlevania, and I still stand by that. I stand by that because this entire episode is told with almost no words being spoken. Aside from some dialogue right at the very, very end, it is all music, all visuals. Different styles of animation, telling a pretty fucked up story that basically is the White Rabbit. It's the White Rabbit's origins, who he is, why he is, what happened. And it is not only hugely emotional, it makes so much sense and ties into everything we've seen so far, in particular the events of last episode and why he might have a big bone to pick with Dark Calm and a little bit more detail about how it's just, yeah, I was staggered by how good this was.
100%. This is the episode that everyone was waiting for. The story, the backstory.
Yeah, because we need, you could say, oh, would the White Rabbit work just as well with nothing, just being insane, Joker style? Maybe, but I like the nuance of this character, and this is very, very cool. Particularly, well, we're going to talk it through, so there are going to be spoilers. He's fucking human. That there is the biggest shocker of all. Saying a demon. Nope. He's fucking human. And we'll explain how he has got the abilities and stuff like that at this stage. But yeah. And just like all the others, all this shit stems from a traumatic fucking childhood.
Always does.
We also should point out this is where we get the depth of the backstory with Mary too as well. Because it's all about flashbacks. And in a series of flashbacks, we see a young Mary become increasingly distant from her parents, while her father becomes obsessed with his research to prove that demons exist. So that's what we want to do. Humiliated, embarrassed, whatever, reputation destroyed, I guess. He was convinced he could prove demons existed. And she spends time away from home, only to return and witness her father transform himself into a demon, killing her mother. Here, Mary defends herself. Her father catches fire, causing him to burn to death as their house goes up in flames. So that is the basically crux of Mary's story. She grew up watching her father's obsession with demons. Of course she was, and not only that, but then demons and his obsession would cause her to lose her mother, force her to accidentally kill her own father, patricide. Like, all of this is just like, you can see why she grew up, joined Darkcom, grew to hate them. Like, of course. Be honest, Baines and Darkcom, they took advantage of her.
Of course. So she was a very easy target, you know. So she has the hatred there. So
they took that hatred, they molded it, they used it as a weapon. They turned her into a weapon against demons. Yep. Speaking of weapons, though, elsewhere, an orphaned boy is moved into a foster home, but is routinely bullied and neglected. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that at first I was like, oh, well, this is obviously Dante or what happened to Dante after his mother died, right? And then he's reading a copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And I went, no. Yeah. So like, wait, White Rabbit, Alice in Wonderland. What? And you're like, wait, what?
I had the same thing. I thought straight away, oh well, this is obviously Dante. And as soon as I saw the Alice in Wonderland, I thought, no, it can't be. It cannot be.
Right? This doesn't make any sense. But then you're like, oh, okay. And obviously, as a young kid being bullied, sad, alone, like to lose yourself in the stories of Alice, like and the portals and the different worlds and the weirdness, like, of course. So when an actual portal appears, like he wants that escape, so he goes through it, believing it's a portal to Wonderland. Unfortunately, it's a portal to hell. But he quickly befriends a group of lower class demons who kind of just hide away and live in fear from the lower upper classes, basically.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, he basically grows to be part of their family. They live, they love each other. He finds a glowing crystal and starts to experiment with it. But we see that hell, its atmosphere is toxic, getting worse and worse. And one of his friends becomes so ill because of the poor environmental conditions, and he dies. That's such a sad scene, you know?
It is.
Many years later, the boy ends up using that crystal to power a portal device and starts to transport demon refugees to Earth. So this is how he brought them through. But yeah, I was a bit like, if you're the rabbit, because at this point he's probably a young adult, a kind of late teenager. But I'm like, you're the
Yep.
rabbit. How does this equate to where we got it? Well, that's because we're also cutting to Mary, who is becoming Darkcom, and Darkcom discovering the operation the rabbit has, infiltrating, finding it, and basically holding a lot of refugees to gunpoint. Unfortunately, a big demon tries to follow them through. It turns into an absolute slaughter, even as the White Rabbit tries to beg them to stop. Everyone he loves is killed around him. He
Right,
survives.
innocent family.
He survives, but basically is driven mad, wanting revenge. And he makes plans basically to dismantle Darkcom as we see him stitch a white rabbit mask to his literal face. So I have had to kind of speed through this, just only because we don't have the same level of dialogue and stuff to kind of tell you a kind of condensed story in the same way we would do.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of break it down into the sections more than anything else. We're telling two stories here: Mary's backstory, the rabbit's backstory. And all of this is told, as I said, through different animation styles and music and just what we see. It is a very simple story when it comes down to it. When it comes down to it, Mary grew up to hate demons based off her family background, what demons did to her parents. It could even go all the way back to the fact that that demon that attacked them in the subway caused all of this. Right? All
Yep.
understandable. But she was brainwashed as well and taken advantage of. She was a victim. She needed therapy. She needed time. She needed healing. Darkcom Banes, they didn't give her that. They turned her into a weapon. She is a victim as much as anything else. The White Rabbit, his entire traumatic childhood. We don't need to know why his parents and why he was an orphan. Who knows? Doesn't matter. However, he ultimately went into an orphanage. It was badly run. He was treated poorly. He needed an escape and he found one. In this world, those escapes exist. But then in that world, we get those nuances about class system again. And we see moments where they were happy. It was pretty. They were happy living together. He found a loving family, all that he was missing. And when he found a way to save his friends and his loved ones and his adopted parents and all of that, Darkcom took it all away. I like fucking hell. You know?
Yeah, I think this is an episode which a lot of people would have to watch because it's very, very hard to explain certain scenes in this
Yeah.
episode through dialogue. So it definitely has to be something that has to be watched to appreciate the masterclass of this episode.
I agree. I can't do it justice. That's the problem. I don't think I can do it fucking justice. What it ultimately comes down to, though, is basically it gives two of our major characters nuances, detail. And you go, well, wait, this is Devil May Cry. Isn't Dante supposed to be the one that gets that? Give it time, people, for starters, all right?
Yeah,
Dante's got a bigger fucking story to tell, and it doesn't need to be told in one season. It's Devil May Cry, it's Dante's story. But Dante's only going to work if we have good villain, and we also have a good other characters as well. This gives us much more nuance to Mary. And yeah, it's nuance that we already knew. But here we get the full detail about it and how really the stamp has to lie at dark. And we've got to look at still Shades of Grey again. So much evil. So much fucking evil. But to
that's the
have
thing.
the White Rabbit be a human, who then embraces demons to then watch as humans, his own people, betray him, but knowing there's no world, no place at hell either for him or them.
Yeah,
Like, what does he do? What do they do?
that's the problem. If you're watching the show, is that who do you determine to be the good guy? Is it you got the White Rabbit was a good guy turned bad guy? You got the Vice President was a a godly man, but he's actually pure evil. So,
Yeah,
Dante's the devil's. Well, sorry, he's half demon, so I don't know, he's a half breed, basically a half breed. So is that who's good,
it's
who's bad?
there. The
Yeah,
evil's there. Exactly
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Mary is Darkcom. It is a constant what the hell, and it is to me just an incredible incredible episode. That yeah, it's up there with Castlevania Nocturne, season 2, episode 4, the Patricide episode, which is incredible. Yeah, this is I love it. I watched this episode more times on its own than I've done the entire show, because you can like, because I know the show is like, if I just, yeah, it's brilliant. It really is. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. It was different. It was different from what we've seen, and obviously it's the backstory which everyone's waiting for, which everyone needed to, in my opinion, because obviously you need to know his story. And yeah,
There it is. Episode 6 of Devil May Cry Season 1, The First Circle. You got any thoughts on this you want to share? You know what to do? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.